Okay. So, hey guys, first, welcome. Hope everybody's having a great day. Getting into our case study. So, we have our case study too as a team. And just to summarize everything, so we had a school, Selena Quintanilla Perez School. They're overpopulated. So, they decided to open up a new school. And doing that, they decided to take some of the old staff and put in the new school. And there was a lot of conflicting concerns with that. Overall, the main focus for the problem of this case study, we have Javier, and then we have a new employee, Rita. So Javier was hired. Javier was hired 18 years ago, has great, strong community ties, liked by the school staff. And they moved him to the new school, and that really aggravated him. And then Rita, who's the new school clerk, for the old school, he kind of started spreading rumors about her. He started doing competitions where he thought he was better than her. So he always liked to emphasize how he finished tasks quicker than her and he can do the job better than her. The principal did call them in to speak about the concerns going on, although Javier did deny spreading the rumors. And then it just got to the point where they had to send out the cards were sent to the parents, and Javier was so stuck on being the best, the federal survey cards. So he was so stuck on being the best that he actually went ahead and forged parents' signatures on the cards, turned them into the principal and said, all mine are done. Then the next day a parent brought it in, and when the principal went to file it, realized that the signature did not match, and then went through and found, I think it was 36 maybe, that were actually forged. So from there, we had to answer 7 questions. So going into question 1, it says, after the investigation, what actions will you take? Before I get into those questions though, I think to note, and I know Dr. Revis was talking about make sure we talk, from our internship experiences and literature review, research. And from experience, last year I had disgruntled employees, it was EC teacher with regular ed, where kind of the same scenario, rumors were being spread, trying to take sides. And with that, my principal pretty much hit it head on. He pulled them in, and it wasn't so much a discussion, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? It was, hey, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I want to see. This is what policy is. This is what the harassment causing a hostile environment. This is what this looks like in the breakdown of this and what it could be. Going forward, this is my expectations. This is how I see us working together in partnership. And then he had me as the chair over the EC, that co-teaching partnership, support it to grow. So me personally, after, that experience and hearing this case study, I feel like if that meeting was a little more in depth and expectations were laid out, I don't think we would have got to this point. However, since we are, initially my first action is I would talk to my HR rep, because forging a name, that's pretty serious. So I would talk to my HR rep, follow school board policy, and what I have to do with that. But I would definitely include the HR rep in that, because of how the reprimand might be taken. I don't want to be he said, she said. I'd like to have my backup. Shay, Nairi, what do you guys think?
I'll go. So I think the same thing action I'm going to take is I am going to call Javier into the office. We're going to have a conversation. I would too also call HR to figure out, how this is going to go. Because in my mind, I'm thinking this is the second time you're causing a lot of chaos. And when we're forging names and we're talking illegal, when I was talking federal cards, we're talking how the school can really get in trouble for this. So I am going to do those same steps. He's causing chaos among the staff that is already divided. So we're definitely going to have this conversation, and I'm going to make sure that I know what I can and can't do as the principal, as far as reprimanding him and how far can I go with if I decide that I want to let him go.
So, Nairi, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think y'all said everything, because I know in my district, you have to contact HR first. I don't think that they're allowed, you can have the discussion,
Right.
but you have the discussion with HR or your supervisor present.
I think that I would also maybe hit the phones and ask some other principals in the area, like, hey, have you guys had this happen before? And just try to get some advice outside of my building on how someone else handled
Mhm.
a situation similar or some close to it.
Yeah, I would hope like a close mentor of somebody that I could confide in. Because, you know, sometimes even that, you know, you reaching out to some of them, it could get messier, you know, if
Right.
they're close ties and stuff. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, and be mindful of the who, I guess is the best way to say that. So 2 says, what additional information will you need to determine how to proceed? I mean, I think we more or less summed that up in what our first step would be. And, you know, the additional reaching out to HR, making sure we're following school board policy and having that documentation. And then even after reaching out to HR, I would make sure I'd follow up an email, just so in the event in the future, something comes up, I could always go back. Well, when we had this meeting, HR said this is what they told me to do to cover your own tail. You guys have any more to put in for that?
I would, what other information is, if I believe if he's done this one thing, he's done something else. So I would even make sure I had documentation from the first conversation that we had, and probably do some more investigation or research on what else Javier has been doing. And yeah, just again, confirming information on how to go about dismissing the staff member or even a transfer.
Tyree, you have anything to add to that, or?
I'm sorry, yeah, it's just hard for me driving. But for me, I guess I would have to take my own personal feelings out of it, because I wouldn't want him in another school. And quite honestly, once he goes through HR, he could be in a lot of trouble, because federal cards get the school's money. And if they've been forged, even though she caught it, I mean, what's to say she didn't catch them all? She didn't recognize them all. What if he's done this before? So to me, it becomes a very sticky situation, and I just feel like, of course, it's not my call, but I would want him dismissed. I wouldn't want him in my school anymore.
Right. Because there could be so much more. Like you said, yeah, that forging, that's a huge red flag, and the trust is gone.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And Naira, you want to go ahead? So 3 and 4 is talk about the legal and ethical. And I know you just started hinting on that. You want to start us off for that? So what ethical issues, what legal ramifications in creating those forged signatures?
It's extremely unethical. What makes you believe as an employee that it's okay for you to forge someone's signature so that you can look better? There's a whole bunch of stuff wrapped up in that, and I'm sure that because we have to sign off in our county on a employee handbook, and what's ethical and what's not ethical is listed in there. So, you would have had to go over something like that and sign off on it. And once you sign off on it, anything that you do that's unethical, you're legally responsible. You could be held legally responsible for the things that you're doing. You basically did something illegal for your own personal gain. It wasn't necessary. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't have what Dr. Reverend said was, documentation and all this to back it up. He need to go straight to jail. I'm sorry, or be dismissed and not be allowed to work in the district at all anymore in a school. Because like you said, the trust is gone. Right. How do I know that I can trust you to do any other job? And you felt the need to put your job on the line so that you could look better than someone else. Those are not the type of qualities I want working for me.
Definitely. And I think you summed it up when you said for personal gain. It wasn't even, not like I would say it would be better if you did it in the best interest of the students. But I feel I would have a little more of a light heart if it was something you did for the student. No, you did it for personal gain. So I feel like that would even, yeah.
This is also like, this is shining the light on his character. You know, we can be, you know, he's like, oh, well, Rita doesn't know what she's doing and she's incompetent. We can help Rita learn how to do things. We can't change people's character. You show your true colors when the pressure is on, your true character comes out. It's easy to be smiling and happy and clapping everybody out when everything is easy. You know, this is hard. Transition, change, people, you know, like, we get this change, we get scared, we get afraid, we do not like change. And he's just making it harder. So his character is coming out. He's lying, he's forging signatures, he's falsifying information from parents and their opinions on a federal card, which, you know, if it's a federal card and a federal survey, probably some type of money is going to be either distributed, you know, to the school because of what opinions or something's going to happen from these cards. So we're talking serious issues. And I looked up, I found the case against the District of South Carolina, where a former Orange County public school employee was sentenced to almost 3 years for defrauding school district and of more than $550,000. Now, you know, this is talking money, but part of what he did was he was forging, fraud of, trying to figure out where at the sentence was that he was forging signatures. And then this wasn't about money, but it's still the same exact thing, that it's illegal. This is jail time. And, you know, he can be put away seriously for this. Gosh, I'm trying to read. I read it somewhere. Where's it at? Boom. What did he do? Evidence presented to Marshall. Okay, here you go. Here it is. It says that evidence presented to the court showed that Marshall, a former media communication specialist employed by the Orange County School District, created a scheme to defraud the district while purchasing remote learning cameras for the school classrooms through the use of shell companies, fabricated documents, forged signatures, falsified and false identities. So he's pretending to be parents. So there's two things. He's pretending to be someone he's not. So that's false identity. And then says he created control, blah, blah, did all this stuff and, you know, defraud these people on money. But, you know, that's 3 years of jail time. You know, you go to jail, you can't get a job in the school system again. And if you did it, this one small thing as a survey, like you said, character, just to get ahead, what are you going to be willing to do when something more serious is on the line?
Right, exactly.
And let me add something else. Instead of him, when you speak to the idea of character, the idea that instead of him trying to uplift her and help her to learn the job, he decided that he just wanted to be superstar number one, but he could have been superstar number one by assisting her to learn the job.
To do it, right.
So he didn't take, so again, the question in his character, you didn't take the high road and say, you know what, I still look like a star if I help her out. If that was his intention.
Right. You can still put that feather in your cap. I did that, but you did it, you know? Yeah. Yeah, definitely that. But again, I'm gonna go back to how I started out with this case study. I feel like that could have been, in my heart, I feel like it could have been facilitated from jump if the principal from jump had that in the meeting. Hey, look, I get you're upset because you're going to the school, but you're going to the school because look what you built here. We want to utilize your strength and use that as motivation. And I would like you guys to be a partnership. We should look as one. That's one thing, like, even if you look at school districts, you see a high school does something this way, that high school does something that way. And then when you try to talk about things, you can't because it's not unified. Like, I get we have different students and stuff, but I feel like some of the processes that we're following, the federal, like all that, we all have the same goal at the end of the day, kids succeed. What can we do as a team? How can we unify that across the board? I think if that conversation was from jump, this situation wouldn't have got as far as it did.
Let me move that up.
All right. So when looking at, if I remember correctly, our ethics, that was malfeasance, right? Yeah, malfeasance, because he
all right
did it. So To tie that in there, Dr. Revis and Dr. Stedman.
Yep, malfeasance.
Yes. All right. So then looking at number 5. So do you think the staff will support Javier's reprimand? How do you think his behavior influenced the efforts to unite the staff? And what should you do to improve relationships? Go ahead, Shay, kick us off.
Yeah, so first of all, I think that not all will support what we're going to do to Javier, because he has some of the staff's ear. Like, he is popular, he's been there for a while, and some of the staff is listening to what he said, especially the ones who feel the same way that he does. Like, there's unity in numbers, there's power in numbers. Everyone who's unhappy and sad about this move they're all going to migrate to the same side. Now, the ones who will support her are the ones who, because there are people who know his true character, and they're going to be like, we know Javier, that's who he is, that's what he does, this is wrong, and they're going to support what she says, how we're going to reprimand him. How is his behavior going to influence efforts to unite staff? Like you said, with what happened with your principal, like, priority right now, we need to put an end to, not only to unite the staff, but to say, hey, this is how I'm going to run the school. This is the expectation. And I need you guys to get on board. For us to be great, everyone has to be on the same page of what it is I'm trying to do. And now we're going to make this effort to unify the school, because we're going to be going in 20 different directions and not be good, or we can all come together and be really good and make the school what it could be. So, staff socials, talking to the staff, everybody likes a good t-shirt, give out t-shirts, everybody's happy, give them coffee in the morning, celebrate wins. And then also, I think, just being transparent about the move. Like, yes, we're all upset. Like, some people had to move, but what can we do differently? What do you guys need from me as your leader? What do you need from me? And so, listen, we talked about supervisor behavior continuum. Listen, listen, listen.
Right. This is where that servant leadership can come into play.
Right.
No, you have. Naira, you have any input you want to put to that?
No, I think y'all said it all. I mean, like Shay said, if you are on the crab bucket side, that's where you're gonna be. I mean, that's
yep, them crabs always trying to pull you down.
Exactly. And so they're angry, they're upset, and they're probably, friends with him, so they're gonna be on his side. But you have to create an environment where people feel comfortable speaking their mind. And because otherwise you can't really fix anything. You can't. But you also have to let them know, I'm not going to please everybody. I'm not going to make everybody happy. I will do the best that I can, but do understand that some things are beyond my control.
Right.
Yeah, and policy. Yeah, and policy. Like, I have to follow, like you have to follow policy, I have to follow policy too. I want to create an environment where we're all comfortable and where we all get along and where things are going great, because at the end of the day, it's about the kids. It's not about us. And if you're walking around and you're angry and you're upset, that's going to filter back into your classroom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, number 6, what do we got? So what, if anything, do you report to your superintendent regarding the situation? I would definitely do that, because we're talking about law here, forging those documents. I would definitely, like, my first step would be, like I said, talk to HR, and then that conversation, again, I'd put it back in email. Hey, this is the steps. This is what's going to be followed with the superintendent in that email. So we're all on the same page of what's going on, is how I would handle that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so yes, definitely report. However, we, hopefully already know how my superintendent wants to handle certain things. How we report, if it's just an email, let her know what's going on, or conversation, or come and meet. Whatever way, we have already established our communication when something happens in the school. One, because it's the federal survey, so there's got to be some type of implication as far as what the schools can and can't get because of the survey. And then we need to make sure as far as Javier is concerned, we already know his character. He thinks he's always right. He's going to fight. So I'm going to be also concerned about, is he going to try to file a wrongful termination lawsuit against me in the school? And I do not want my superintendent finding out because she saw it on the 6 o'clock news. Hey, what? Why did I know what was going on? Nope, I'm going to let you know, hey, this is what happened. This is the type of guy. Let's make sure we are ready, have our ducks in a row just in case. Because it could be a potential lawsuit. And so, yeah, the superintendent just needs to know prior. I mean, I'm like that with coaching. I'm the head coach. I tell my assistants, if something happens, I need to know. I don't care how small you think it is, because when it goes down, a parent calls or my AD or the principal calls, they're not going to call my assistant in. They're going to call me in and say, hey, coach, this is going on in your program. And I do not want to sit in that office and go, what? I can't say I didn't know. That's my program. And it's on me. Anything that happens under my program, whether or not I knew about it, had a hand in it, falls on me and us as principals.
Definitely. Nairi, did you have anything you wanted to tie to that?
No, just the fact that like in my district, once I notify HR, we have district superintendents.
Yeah.
So the district superintendent will be notified by HR immediately so that they know what the situation is. And because they would make that decision about the consequences, and I guess going into number 7 about the grounds for suspension or dismissal. So they would actually make that decision. I'm sure that as a principal, you're a part of that decision, but that final decision comes from HR and the superintendent.
My recommendation, though, would be to dismiss him. At the least, if they couldn't dismiss him, he can't work at my school anymore, because of distrust, the chaos that he's causing, undermining the authority as much as he's already got started. And if he were just to be suspended, when he comes back, he's going to stir up some more trouble.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you guys on that. And then again, just kind of tying that up, just making sure you're following policy, including HR. And then like Nairi was saying, you know, that deputy superintendent or the superintendent that's over you that serves your school, all informed. All right, y'all. Is there anything else anybody wants to add in before we tie up?
No, we're good. I think you're good. I was going to read the definition of malfeasance, but everybody knows.
Yes. All right, party people. I appreciate y'all.
All righty.
Have a good
Ladies, have a good night. Have fun outside.
Yes.
Good night.
Okay.
All right. Good night.
Bye. How do you?